Yes, so please do visit. I'll be sharing the link on our WhatsApp group. Please do register for the seminar and please join it. It's going to be one of its kind seminar. So can I invite Pooja to introduce Ankita today? We have the privilege of her amongst.
Thanks, Smita, so much, and thank you, Ankita, for being here. It's a real pleasure to have you with our club. I'd like to introduce Ankita a little informally first. She's been a dear client of ours and now a dear friend. The amount of traveling what she does for her work and for her social service is really, really inspiring. I'm audible? Yes, it's been really inspiring. It's been a real pleasure to know her on a personal level and a professional level, and also know her family and Mr. Harshvardhan Patil, who has been a former minister with the Maharashtra government. It's been a mix of a professional journey and a personal journey with her. It's been a mix of a professional journey. Hello, hello. Should I continue?
Yeah, continue, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so it's been awesome to know her and her family being from a political background and the amount of social service they go, the time and energy she invests in it. She spends 4 days in a week at Indapur to be a young politician. And when I've been there around with her, the amount of people she interacts with and amount of weddings she attends to feel them comfortable and a part of the family, it's really incredible. The amount of travel she does for her professional work and at the same time for the public service what she does, it's really inspiring. It's really crazy. And now I would like to read out her bio, which is really her education, qualification, and the kind of work which she's doing is incredible. So it's been Ankita Harshvardhan Patil is a member of Pune Jilla Parishad. She's a member of Indian Sugar Mill Association, Indian Sugar Exim Corporation Limited, and a vice president of SB Patil Education Institution. She studied her bachelor's in business administration from Symbiosis and sustainable finance and investment from Harvard University. She's also pursued masters in strategic management and London School of Economics. No wonder she handles everything so effortlessly. Since 2014, she's been a trustee of SB Patil Institute of Management and is now the president of Shaji Rao Patil Vikas Prasthan. She's a member of the Indian Sugar Mill Association and a director at Indonesia Sugar Mill. She's won the Zilla Parishad elections from Bawra Lake Wadi with highest margins on votes in Maharashtra. Ankita Patil is the daughter of Harshvardhan Shahaji Rao Patil, a former minister in India in Maharashtra government, who is a wonderful person at a personal level too. Our topic for today is her journey in the field of public service and politics. So we welcome Ankita on board. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Pooja. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Pooja, Arbasis, and Karthik for having me here. Indeed, it's a privilege to be here at the Rotary Club of Bombay Bayview chapter. And literally, I mean, thank you for the amazing introduction. I am very, very young, and you have literally put me on a pedestal and made me like a tad bit awkward at the moment. But well, to begin with, I have forayed into politics a year and a half ago. I'm an elected representative at the Pune Zilla Parishad. I come from a political family and my family has been in politics for the last 80 years, right from my grandfather to my grandmother, then my father, and now me, and even my brother at this point. We all are doing and handling different areas in politics. Uh, it indeed, I mean, if I have to repeat my story, like I said, I'm too young. I'm just 28 years old. I'm not afraid being a girl to share my age at the moment because it has, like I said, put me up on another different sort of a pedestal. I would like to be honest, keep this interaction as informal as possible because I am exhausted being formal on all the platforms that I am on at the moment. And it really, I think today, I'm glad that we had like an impromptu chat before we started off with today's session because that little icebreaker, I think, has really helped. Well, my journey in terms of education, I mean, my family, the family I come from has always been very particular about educational qualifications and being independent by our own self. And that's the value my parents and my grandparents have always instilled in us. When I was born, or when I was actually growing up, seeing, well, every day, like 300-400 people in the house and office who were there to meet my father, I was certainly not very sure that if I wanted to lead that sort of a life, because as most of you all also must be having the impression about politics or how in general like life is, I also had a very similar sort of an experience. And I took the first chance I could, and I flew off to London when I did crack GMAT, and I got into a London School of Economics. That I think was an incredible turning point of my life. And it really did form me in a lot of ways, because during my years in London, traveling in the metro, living an independent life, living a life where you are literally out there making your own decisions, where you are not really baggaged by the last name that one would carry back home in India, back home in Mumbai, in Pune, where I have studied before. So it was incredibly liberating, that experience, where we did have at that point in time Boris Johnson, with whom you used to literally take the metro every day when I used to go from Oxford Station to Holborn to LSE. And he used to, at that point in time, he was the mayor of London. So those sort of experiences which I had in London, the incredible friends that I actually made there, really helped shaping me for who I am today. And after London, like I said, I mean, my story is like that of any other sort of a entrepreneur or a startup uh, uh, person, where I literally, that point in time, I had to start trading. I had my own portfolio. I was trading at London Stock Exchange, and I was, for a 22-year-old, making decent amount of money by myself. Was incredibly proud of what I was doing, and I thought probably this is the life that I wanted. But that's where I think I got a call from my father that he wanted me to come back home. And he said, the minute you graduate, I want you back home, and we'll figure what you can come back and figure what you want to do in your life. And I'll be supportive of in any field that you want to, but he's like, I want you close to me. And then I moved back home. And for a year, and at that point in time, I actually did start engaging in politics. I was handling all of the back end work for politics for him. I used to manage his media campaign, work on his, that time I think technology and all of social media had just hit Indian market, and it was just picking up. That time we did have, this was in 2014. And a year after working and still figuring what I would want to do with my life, another great opportunity came knocking by, and I was accepted into a program at Harvard of sustainable finance and investments. So I did take up that opportunity, and it took me a lot of convincing with my father that I really wanted to go away again, because he thought that if I go away one more time, I probably would not come back again to India. And simultaneously, along with that course, I even did a course in leadership and politics, which was another elective that I was offered. And I literally took that opportunity, and I did not really know what was coming my way. I finished my course, I came back home. I started working in the education industry. My mother started an education institute. We at the moment have 5,000 students on campus, and it was incredible. After coming back home and studying at these two universities, tried to bring in a lot of change in terms of the teaching learning methods, and try in the kind of teaching methodologies we did have at Harvard and LSE. And a lot of my professors back in the US and London, I did even connect them to my students. We did a lot of international exchange programs, and I was really enjoying my work back then, because I was dealing with students, and it was very, very interesting, like a work profile, high on energy. Along with that, simultaneously, I also worked in the sugar industry in Western Maharashtra. Indapur which is our political constituency and our native place. So it is 2 hours from Pune. And being in Western Maharashtra, we are sugarcane is the main crop that we have here, and sugar industry is massive in this part of the region. So we've been into the sugar industry for the past since my grandfather's days, and we have 4 sugar factories. So my father said that why don't you also start simultaneously looking into it. Again, I got an opportunity back in 2016 to work with EDF Man in London. I worked with them in Mumbai, and then I even went and I worked with them in London for a couple of months before I literally did come back and start working in the sugar sector back home, which was again very interesting. But also, I did not realize that when I started working in the sugar sector, every politician in Western Maharashtra or Maharashtra in general is associated with the sugar industry. I started meeting a lot of people, started interacting with the youth on a regular basis through the education industry and through sugar. And that's when in 2019 came an opportunity knocking on the door. And like how everybody imagines that, okay, I mean, for a third generation politician like myself, more than right now, what is the trending topic in on this media, which is smashing the patriarchy. For me, it was sort of smashing nepotism, and it took a while. I was literally, I mean, if I have to even remember that day when I was in the hospital at Lilavati, where my grandmother, she was diagnosed with cancer, and she was undergoing her surgery followed by her chemotherapy. And that's when I got a call from my father, and he said that the by-elections for Zilla Parishad have been declared. And he said I was sitting with all the Karyakartas back in Indapur, and all of them somehow have come to me and said that they would want a young face, they would want a young female face, and they want you to contest. And at that point in time, I was in such a, how would I say, like a contrasting situation, in such a split at that moment. I could not even, because I knew that one yes would completely change my life forever. It would completely turn my career the other way around. And I said I had like one day to think and respond to him. Well, I was there battling, I mean, standing by my grandmother. I had to take this tough call where I probably, like any of y'all, could not think straight at that point in time. And when she did get discharged the next day, I went back to Indapur and I sat down with my father. Whereas I really did not know the level of the grassroots level, even though I was connected to the youth, but the sort of effort and the involvement that this position would involve. And then once when I did sort of meet a lot of people, I had a lot of support. Everybody upheld my name, and they said that it is you and nobody else that they could see at that point in time. So when I did take up that opportunity, so from that day to today, it's been an incredible journey with a lot of responsibility, a lot of work, a lot of hard work. There are no hours in politics. My day begins at 7 a.m. I wake up, and there is literally like no end to the number of calls, to actually being there for the people, working for them, being answerable to every single aspect they would want you to be involved in. And being a youth or a young politician, where when I in fact, the idea of actually coming and speaking here at Rotary sort of goes back to March. If Pooja remembers, we had just met over coffee at Starbucks at Atria, and it was, I mean, I'd seen her after very long, and then I was there in my t-shirt and tracks, and she was there, and we were just chilling, and we were talking about COVID, because none of us really had an idea. I think India at that time had like 2 cases, and we weren't in lockdown at that point in time. And then she said that how is it that Indian politicians sort of function, and you are like literally here and sitting in Starbucks, and is this like a normal thing to do, and all of it. And I said, why not? I said, even in my constituency, I literally go, but not in track pants and a t-shirt, but well, in Indian wear. I do go, I sit, we don't have Starbucks in CCD yet. Well, that's on the, oh, well, that's like a 5-year down plan, but well, yeah, we probably will have an Indapur soon. But I said I do go out here, and with my youth Karyakartas and the Yuvatis here over coffee, over tea, and like little these snack shops that are here and do chat with them and understand their thought process and what they want to do in their life, and how I could actually be of help to them and sort of empower them in ways that I can. So when she said that, why don't you actually come and speak at Rotary, because we don't have we've never really had a politician per se or a young politician per se come and speak. And she said, I would really like my friends to know like how Indian politicians are. And well, one more thing I would like to share is that the perceived image which generally people have of Indian politicians or Maharashtrian politicians is like the fact that they're very old with their stomachs jutting out and probably their hairlines receding and like, you know, with coarse voices and with all of that number of security and everything. I said, I mean, that's like a typical image everyone has of politicians, where where even to actually reach out to a politician and to connect with them, or to even have like a 2-minute conversation with them is very, very difficult. But today's day and age, in my little experience that I've had so far working in politics has been incredibly different. Because even when now it's the social media age where we are very, very connected. It's a huge responsibility. Now my karyakartas or the people that I work for are not uh, to Bauda Lakhewari, which is my constituency, or to Indapur, which is our taluka, but even to Pune district, or even Maharashtra, or even New Delhi. Like there are people right now when I am working in the COVID situation, where they call me from Mumbai, they call me from Solapur, they call me from Satara, from Sangli, from Delhi, from where all, to arrange for beds for them in hospitals where ambulances are required. So as a politician, the area at the moment, it's a huge responsibility. Like I said, the periphery is sort of increased. You have to be there for them at all points in time. You have to help them out at all points in time. And it is incredible in a lot of ways, indeed. And right now, though, I do interact a lot more with the youth spectrum that's there, because I'm a young politician and I sort of connect with the youth on a lot more level. A few experience that I would actually like to share with all of you is the fact that with the rural youth population, which constitutes approximately 65 to 68% of our voters, it is very, very, it's very different to deal with the youth in rural areas compared to the youth in the urban population, because the youth especially is incredibly huge in numbers. A few experiences which I had was like, even for a birthday in Indapur, like if a youth tomorrow, like, I'm talking about like a non-COVID sort of an environment, the youth over here would spend approximately 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees on a birthday celebration, and they would want you to be there. And they would probably have like, it's like a mini wedding is what they would have, and they would have it every year. And they would probably call like 1,000 or 1,500 of their friends. And it's baffling at the moment, because that's the kind of money which people actually do spend on birthdays, which probably you and I, being in Mumbai or Pune or metropolitan cities, probably would have like a birthday with maybe say like an intimate gathering of maybe 10 friends. But the youth at this moment, so sort of like these experiences were quite baffling to me. But like I said, I have to sort of always be there for them and turn up at the events. Even with weddings, like the amount of people and the amount of weddings, the grandeur of the weddings people have at this point in time. Even in COVID, I mean, in the past 5 months I have attended, there are just so many people getting married, it's not even funny. Like approximately around 350 to 400 odd weddings I have attended in COVID, where there are like 20 people, sometimes there are 50, sometimes there are 100, because it is just a very different sort of a trend which is picking up. The youth today, I feel they're young, they're educated. There's like a different sort of like a big brewing powerhouse that definitely is there. There's a lot of potential, but there's direction. And this lack of direction is where I think you and I, we all come into picture. Me as maybe an elected representative, and all of you from different fields that are there present today in all the capacities that you all have, because I think it's it's our mutual responsibility to sort of direct all of them in the right direction, because one of the major factors, which is again which really does bother me a lot, is the social engineering factor that's sort of grimming in society today, where everybody in the rural areas want to have a recognition based on their caste. The social fabric in the rural areas is everybody sort of like, even when the youth come here and they introduce themselves to me, even if I'm meeting some for the first time, they would say that I am so and so, and I'm from this X caste, and I'm from this Y caste. And then I would always question them. I said, why won't you introduce yourself for who you are and for what you do? Why do you have to tell me from where you come from or what your caste background is? And this is actually very worrying, because the amount of protests that we see coming up every day in different forms, or the amount of these different political parties based on uh, based on the caste equations that they have. I mean, right now it really is amazing, because there are some people there are some youth who call me and they wish me, if they would call me on their birthday, they would have like these banners printed of if there's like a specific day, and there is like Blue Panther, there is Green Panther, and then there are like, for different castes and subcastes, there are like these sort of groups which are forming. Everybody sort of wants to associate based on where they come from on their groups. So this, I think, is like a very worrying factor for all of us living in Maharashtra and in India, because this sort of differentiation that's coming, whereas we live in a secular country where we all are like educated in a different manner, our views are different, but this is what's actually happening at the ground level, which is sort of baffling to me at the moment. And it's, I think, going to be a collective effort on all of us to sort of bring in terms of my work in the sugar sector. So I'm a member at the Indian Sugar Mills Association. I'm also a member at the Indian Sugar Exim Corporation. Whereas I mean, I've been on the board since 2 years, and we have like, I mean, right now all our meetings are on Zoom and they are online. So we have board members from across India, and who are sugar mill directors or owners, and we sort of address and put our concerns out there. And we also act as an advisory to the Food and Civil Supplies Ministry, and to the Petroleum Ministry, and to the Prime Minister's office. This happens on a monthly basis. So everything pretty much that goes on in the sugar sector, for the private and the cooperative sugar mills, we act as an advisory board for them. And in terms of the fair and remunerative prices that are to be given, for the MSP that is to be announced, and for the soft loan disbursements, right to the loan restructuring, all of these activities are carried out by all of us at ISMA and at ISEC. At ISEC also, we deal with the sugar that is being exported from India to across the world, primarily to Brazil, to Europe, to the Eastern African countries, to the Middle East. And we deal with them on a regular basis. So it's pretty interesting, to be honest, to be working and actually getting this experience at this age in the sugar industry, and being involved, because there's like a lot of, I would say, it's like a wide spectrum where one can contribute, one can learn, one can understand. And it is pure and core policy making that is involved in this entire process. In terms of the work that we do at Zilla Parishad, also our CEO at Zilla Parishad, Mr. Ayush Prasad, has also joined us today. Thank you, sir, for actually being here. It's great to have you. So the work that we do at Zilla Parishad, so basically Zilla Parishad, my constituency, which is Bauda Lakhewadi, just to sort of explain it in a bit of a layman term, we have a total population of around 72,000, which is there in my constituency. we have to look into, as a member of Zilla Parishad, right from the roads, right to the medical infrastructure, to the education, to all the livelihood of the villagers, to individual benefit schemes that we have, right even from being in politics, right from jobs to providing employment, to sort of being there for everything. And the new trend in Indapur is to be there at every wedding and at every funeral, which is amazing and exhausting at the same time. So it's like literally being a part of uh, 72,000 people's lives on a daily basis. And indeed, it was very, very interesting. Uh, in the COVID times, we've been working extensively to improve the digital infrastructure in the rural areas. We, with the help of optical fiber networks, now are developing Wi-Fi enabled gram panchayats, where we have sort of tried a lot to improve the online education that is given to our students in the Zilla Parishad schools. In terms of, we've started even these campaigns where campaigns since 4 months, where a lot of people have donated their used mobile phones to laptops to iPads, so that people can actually, so we could actually donate it to a lot of these students, young students who probably don't have any sort of these devices. Also, the other initiatives that we've been working is uh, uh, we've been working on is we provided through the help of all our team at Zilla Parishad the ration to around 4 lakh people in the past 6 months of approximately 6 months of COVID. Along with that, now what we're trying to do is sort of link the urban with the rural, and that is, I think, one of the major important things where Rotary and we at Zilla Parishad probably could collaborate or probably could work together in any sort of capacity, wherein we have farmers here, we have rural entrepreneurs here, we have young women here, we have women who sort of work from home and manufacture their own products, but we do not have the market. I mean, we do try to, with all the sources that we have available and the contacts that we have available, try to link the sort of produce that is made in the rural areas to and connect them to the urban population. But at the same time, if any of you all probably would want to set up an SME or have startups where you require young students, because unemployment is a major issue that we are tackling at our district level and at the state level at the moment because of the layoffs that we've been having. So this sort of a linkage, if at all we could establish, that would be great. For example, we've had meetings with this company called Moonshine Meadery, just to give an example. uh, they are uh, they basically produce wine with pomegranate and with pomegranate. So they actually visited our pomegranate farms in Indapur, and they really they sort of took the raw material, they used it, they made the wine out of it, and they were very happy with the final product that was there. So they are now trying to tie up with the local farmers here, and we are helping and facilitating and giving them like a raw material supplier. And if this if this goes out well, I think it would definitely help the farmers in a huge way. Another organic health startup called Two Brothers, they have their own cow breeding in Indapur, and they make moringa powders, a lot of these superfoods, pure cow ghee, and everything, all of these organic products, and they supply to Nature's Basket, to Food Hall, to Big Bazaar, and to a lot of celebrities also are their clients. So they are of course very big, and they have an office in Pune and Mumbai, and they have a big clientele. So if there are certain sort of these products which we can probably help out or help all of you all to link you all to the farmers, I think that would be a great platform and a great initiative and a great exposure for the farmers per se. So this is like one of the things probably we could work on. Apart from that, there's an NGO which my mother started 10 years ago, and she did a lot of work with the women in Indapur to empower them, to help them provide livelihood, and whereas they could actually make their own set of income. So whereas they had a lot of training programs with all the sewing machines, and whereas she even purchased through a lot of the government funds at that point in time, which was allocated to women entrepreneurship. And there is like a huge skill set, because women over here, right from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening, they have a lot of time at hand where they would like to utilize it and work from home and produce any sort of products that are required. And it's a labor available, I think, like a skill set, I would say, available at a very affordable cost. And the products that they make, I think, would do incredible in urban markets. But like I said, like, we would want to be act as facilitators, where we can have our products, the products that are made in Indapur or in Pune district, be catered to in the urban market. Like another interesting initiative that we've been working on, right from, which ranges from rural entrepreneurship to empowering women, working on women initiatives in different areas, provide even startup of SMEs in Indapur, because and that could be in any segment, whichever segment at this point in time. It could be online, it could be offline, it could actually be like a physical sort of a setup, which is over here. With the land also is where we could actually help out in terms of Zilla Parishad. So that is like another area which where we all probably could work together. So overall, like, the whole idea of speaking to you all today was just to sort of break the whole image everybody usually has of Indian politicians, and sort of make it more relatable, whereas you all could actually, because we are in there to make, we are policy makers, we are over here, we need suggestions, we need areas, we want to know your pain points, we want to know what are the areas that you would like to focus on, or sort of, if you need a market, we are over here out there to provide you with all of it, because we deal with a mass market over here. And the whole idea behind all of this is to sort of put it across to you all that politics is not rigid. It's not only for certain set of people. It is not only for elected representatives, or it is not only for people from privileged families. It is for one and all. It is more than power, or more than that kind of grandeur, or everything, whatever the media or anything sort of projects it to be. It is basically a platform where you and I could come together and make a difference, where you and I could come together and address issues, address problems, make this entire world livable, make the people, educate the people around us in a better way, give them a better platform, encourage them, help them grow. Because if they grow, only then would that also amount to the growth of our economy, to the entire growth of our society. And that is what the whole idea was, in fact, of interacting with you all today. And indeed, it's been great. And I would really like to thank Pooja, Arbasis, Karthik, and all of you all today, because it was a very good and a very, like I said, a very informal sort of a conversation, because here it all is Marathi, it all is very formal, it all is very it's full of problems, and it's full of never-ending sort of problems. But this sort of a positive influx of good energy, good vibe, I think is something which you and I have been sort of missing for the past 6 months, because I end up to Bombay that often, or to meeting Pooja at Starbucks that often, or even my friends all that much in the past couple of months. So I think this was a very refreshing sort of an experience also for me. And any sort of questions that you have on any topics in terms of that I've spoken about maybe sugar, about education, about politics, about Zilla Parishad, or if any sort of way that you would like to work with us, please do share your questions with us, and I'd be happy to answer. Thank you so much. Karthik, you may take over.
Ankita, very well, very good presentation. It opened up a lot of avenues for us. I think I have suggested to our Rotary and residents that in future we should work together with you rather on the CSR related projects, social service. I think we are all Bombay, good guides to come for us to come across and work together on certain projects. If Sasmita, you can throw much further light on it because since you are also associated with
So Ankita, I guess we can take this offline after the meeting, but your talk has been really interesting and superb. You know, your journey has been incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, from your London journey to coming back here and, you know, working in the sugar industry has been fantastic. Um, we will talk about this again. Let's connect after the meeting. I want to invite Lautika to give the vote of thanks, please, first.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. I take this privilege to thank Ms. Ankita Patil for all the information that she's given to us. Your journey is truly inspirational for all of us. It's a wide spectrum. The way you've gone from, your studies to your career, and the way you've taken up responsibilities is truly very inspirational. It's commendable that at such a young age you managed to handle such big responsibilities with such ease. It's nice to see the younger generation rise to such limits. It's very pleasing and nice.
Thank you.
I am truly in admiration of how you've used to link the farmers with the direct customers to encourage their growth and their progress. Thank you. I would also like to thank our president, Ms. Smita Parekh, for organizing such opportunities for our members. Thanks, Smita. Also, thank you to our Rotarians, Pooja Ashley and our basis Ashley, for our speaker tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lautika. Guys, I have one announcement for you all. We are having a treasure hunt on the 20th of on Sunday, coming Sunday. So please, all of you all do participate. It is something that in lieu of the situation right now, the admin team has been completely watchful, and, you know, they are just saying that all the arrangements are made. You will not need to meet anybody. You can be participating in your own car. Even husband wife is a group. You don't need to have a group of 3 or 4 Rotarians. Even 2 people is a group in the car. It starts at 9 o'clock. Clues will be given to you all. All of us will be connected over WhatsApp, and it's going to be a fun evening. It's going to be a fun event. So please do participate, all of you all. It's a nice way to get out on Sunday morning and also be around the city. So all of you all, I would request all of you all to sign up for it. Yes, so you won't be meeting anybody as such, as I said. It's just a little fun that all of us will have together. And now I can I have Tejal for the secretarial announcement?
Hi, everybody. The next few meetings, we have a packed September month. The next few meetings are Actor Sonu Sood tomorrow, a joint meeting with many clubs of District 3141 at 4 to 6 p.m. On Sunday, the 13th, we have BK Shivani. She's a super speaker, joint with IMC Ladies Wing at 10:30 a.m. On 18th September, we have Sanjay Gupta, the film producer, as a speaker. On the 19th to the 21st is the district CSR seminar, which our club is hosting. And on the 20th is a plenary session of the same, which all must attend. The details will be shared soon. And already our president has announced the 20th is the fellowship. Attendance for today was 33 logins. Thank you. Over to you, Smita.
Yes. Thank you, Tejal. And the meeting is adjourned for today.
Thank you, everyone.
Fellowship.
Thank you.
Thank you all of y'all. It was a pleasure being with all of y'all today. Ankita, we will. Bye, everybody. Good evening. Hi, Nimish.
How are you?
All good. How are you?
Great. How's it going?
Nimish, late entry. Should I give you attendance or not?
Yeah, I know. That's up to you. It doesn't matter anyway.
President, tell me.
No, we are Indians.
Yeah.
President is kind-hearted, unlike you.
I'm also, you're strict about finance, I'm strict about my work.
Very good. Good. Chalo, see you all. Bye.
Bye. Hi, Tejal.
Chalo, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye guys, logging off.
Chalo, take care guys. Bye.